Welcome all to another exciting episode of This Week in Pop Culture. My name is Zandieh. First, I'd like to apologize for all of our Sunday watchers and listeners that we were not here for 3 weeks. I apparently went under the knife, and I'd like to thank everyone for their heart warm wishes that you guys were nice enough to send to me. With spoilers ahead, guys, we have a lot to talk about today. We have a lot of Batman, we have a lot of Star Wars, lots, and including some Marvel here and there. So lots to talk about. Spoilers ahead, but we're also a man short today. We're only 4/5 of the team. Sadly enough, Leslie could not be here with us today, but she will be back with us next week. But let's get the show on the road. Let me introduce you to my co-star here. You can catch him every Tuesday for This Week in Toy Culture. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Michael Bergy himself. What is up?
What up? What's up, Hash? How you doing? Nice to be back, man. Nice to be back.
Right, nice to be back. As if Tuesday wasn't fun enough already, talking about toys and spoilers ahead and talking about the Mandalorian and the Child. Nothing but Mando stuff. You can catch this young man on his podcast channel, Last Stop on the L, and he's also our Mayhem, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Mayhem.
Drop the beat.
Oh my god!
Yes,
This is the way.
You're definitely Mayhem. That's for damn sure. Definitely Mayhem,
dude. I feel like I should be on a plane. I feel like, the guy bringing in the planes and stuff. I feel like, especially with the goggles on, the headphones, the orangey yellow vest. I feel like we should all be on the plane heading to Aruba, Aurora,
Come on in. Go ahead.
Drop your suitcases over there. Load the plane.
Also, with us as always, you can catch her on Wednesdays doing her little lovely art show from Castillo Studios in Orlando, Florida. Miss Sammy Castillo.
How
Hi,
do
Sammy.
I follow that introduction? That nonsense over there.
Right?
How do you do it?
Like, I feel like I need to
show the
rip
guns.
phone book in half
There should
or
be
something
something.
to follow that.
But he's got he has the way. He has the way. He's got his markers going off here and there. Get the plane to the right, get the plane to the left. I mean, look, but by the looks of it, we should all be on a flight out of here right now. We should all be having a bit of normalcy, as we should have been in Rhode Island just not too long ago, or we should have been in a convention in Texas. Who knows where we should be? But Colorado's apparently gleaming through. But let's get into the fun little articles and everything. Everyone's been talking about or wants to talk about is a move that has opened doors for Warner Brothers and DC have decided to embrace the philosophical version of their multiverse of their films, giving interesting filmmakers who have a unique take on their DC characters to make those movies without bleeding over into their main. Could the Batman Who Laughs be part of the next installment? Seeing a version of Batman from that multiverse, from that universe where he kills the Joker and becomes the twisted Bat Joker hybrid himself. If those movies could be greenlit, where it could be. There will also be the issue of their backstory, which we all know DC has a hard time figuring that part out, because how many times can we see Martha and Thomas Wayne get shot almost every single Batman movie? I mean, please stop it. This would also be an easy development for the animation departments, or instead of their live action, as we already know that they have a better live action. They have a better animated studio. When it comes to this, my storyline is who's going to play Batman. My opinion is their animated verse is pretty much the best. I would love to see Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill come in for one more Batman movie, then see Kevin Conroy play the Batman Who Laughs. But who am I to say? Who do you guys think who would play a better Batman? And should this be a live action, or should this be an animated version? Sammy, let's start with you.
I agree with you. I think this is something that that would definitely be right in the wheelhouse of the animation department, and it'll do it justice, because the animation department has way more leeway and it's directly under DC as opposed to Warner Brothers in terms of creative process. So you're going to get a better, a more accurate storytelling to the comic book to film, as it were. And the style of Bat Who Laughs is very unique because it's Greg Capullo. So you'll be able to get that translated as well, instead of them trying to, stuff it into like this real world kind of thing. But I want Kevin Conroy back. He's my ultimate Batman, and but I don't know that he would fit as the Bat Who Laughs, because isn't that supposed to be like a distorted Batman?
Right, but we have seen him laugh hysterically after a Joker joke in the animated series one time. Mayhem, your thoughts on the Batman Who Laughs? Could it be animated? Would you like it animated, or would you like a live action version?
I
can see myself through your goggles.
Clean. So I would love a live action version, because I don't think in an animated version it makes sense. Right now, the Batman Who Laughs is very prominent in DC Comics, and they're still kind of trying to find a way to go with him. They're not too sure. They're kind of abusing him too much. They're kind of going through a crisis event, though they're not calling it a crisis event. So if they bring him into an animated world, I think it's just going to confuse, unless they're telling another story again. And bring him into the live world. Bring him into the world and make him kind of like the Thanos, where we now go through different universes and see different Batmans go through different things. And he's just either recruiting them or going over it. That's kind of like the Marvel thing, but I think it would be much more successful. I know Leslie right now is probably like, no, DC's good. We're coming down. Put him in live only, because otherwise he's gonna fail. This is the way.
All right. Oh, so you think live would be a much better version than the animated? Bergy, finish it off. Let us know what you think of this one.
As much as I'd love to see a live version of it, but I don't think we'll do it justice, because it's kind of like what Sammy said with Greg Capullo and the way he drew that and his style. I don't think would translate well enough in a live action movie. I think as an animation, we could dive into the characters a little bit more. We'll get more of a backstory, because this is not a story that everybody knows. So if it's not for the mainstream media, a lot of these people are probably not going to know about it. It may not do very well in the box office as a regular live action movie. Animated movie, maybe lead into HBO Max, make a series out of it, 13 to 18 episode arc type deal, give a couple of seasons out of it. You could really flesh out the characters a little bit more and dive into everything. The fact of Batman being a little twisted, kind of like a Joker-esque, I like the idea, and I think it would do well. I just don't know if it would be mainstream enough to be a blockbuster hit. Warner Brother needs some hits to catch up with Marvel. They can't just keep relying on the fact that, you have, Aquaman and you had Wonder Woman doing well, but nothing else. So you need something that's going to catch up. Everyone's looking for the Snyder Cut. I think this would be better suited animation-wise. Make it a few episodes, even if it's movie-wise or TV show-wise. I think that'd be the best way to do it.
Ooh, so you're saying short series instead.
Mm-hmm.
But out of all the Batmans that we've had, could you see repeating certain characters or certain voiceover actors, or would you like to see someone completely new? And what about the Robins? I mean, which Robin would you see get transformed into, his little youngling minions? We'll say. Bergy, start with you.
I'd love to see Kevin Conroy, because personally, I'm sorry, Kevin Conroy is Batman. There is no other person that's going to play Batman. You need to do it. Honestly, if it's Batman as like a Joker, I'd like to see Mark Hamill's version of it.
Yep.
Give it a little twist on it. Have Hamill do it, because I think he would oh my God, I think he would slaughter it. I think he would really kill it. I'd love to see him play like the Batman, but as the Joker style, and I think he could do it. As far as some of the other,
you want him to play Bruce Wayne for a hot minute and then turn into a Batman version of Joker.
Correct. Yes. I think it would be great. I think he has the range and the dynamic in his voice and the gravitude of his his character and stuff like that, and the way he can do it. I think it would be insane. Would be knocking out. Keep Conroy in the show as maybe different characters, like have him do other stuff. The only downfall is he wouldn't play Batman for the first time ever in like a animated cartoon movie. So that would
maybe he's a version of Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, I could see that.
Kevin Conroy's Commissioner Gordon. Mayhem, thoughts on that little thing?
You know what? I'm gonna have to agree with Bergy on this one. If it isn't Kevin Conroy or Mark Hamill, then we need freshly new talent. I
Right.
don't think any past Batman or any past Jokers can play Batman or Joker in this instance, or the Batman who laughs. I think it needs to be fresh talent. I would love, especially when Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy get together, they're like energy. They always hit out the park. I would love to see them. Maybe see in the Batman Who Laughs story, maybe see Kevin Conroy be Batman, and then Mark Hamill be Joker, but then have Mark Hamill take over Batman Who Laughs in a sense, or maybe vice versa. Just kind of mix it up. But if it's not them and they don't figure it out, I don't want anybody else. It has to be totally new. None of the Batmans, none of the past Jokers can do it. I don't even think they're interested, to be honest with you. I know we say cut the check, but I don't. It's too much pressure, I think.
Sammy, what do you think of Bergy's comments?
I think, I agree with Mayhem in the fact that it's either got to be them or not at all.
Right.
Because, or people completely new. And, because of animation and dubbing from Japan to US has, been so prevalent over the last decade, voice acting is now very much a respected thing. And I love Kevin Conroy and I love Mark Hamill, but I kind of want to see like who else is out there to give it their own twist. We've had him since I was a kid and I love him, but this is something new. This is something different. This isn't the detective and, Joker. This is something more twisted. So I would want to see somebody with, that could actually potentially do both sides and just have like a gravel kind of tint to their voice. Not like a Christian Bale thing, but, we all know how well that happened. But somebody that could do Batman and then do the transformed into Bat Who Laughs, whatever that is, whatever it's officially called. So that way you have the same person, but like playing Jekyll and Hyde, basically.
Like a light switch went off and they became evil in a way.
Mm-hmm, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I can see that.
Well, speaking of more Warner Brothers DC problems, we'll say, well, technically Warner Brothers has their own little thing that they have to handle right now, and that is the Johnny Depp exiting Fantastic Beasts 3. As we have all as you have all may have heard already, Johnny Depp has stepped down as Geralt Grindelwald of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, just days after losing his lawsuits against a British tabloid that characterized him of being abusive, those same allegations that were between him and Amber Heard. While filming has been put on an extreme hold, fans are hoping that Colin Farrell would return to the series, while others weigh in on Mads Mikkelsen. But Warner and Harry Potter franchise are no stranger in changing actors for whoever they pick will find a fine job in replacing Depp. Who do you think would be a great replacement to replace Johnny Depp for the Fantastic Beasts 3 movie? Sammy, let's start with you. Would you go with Colin Farrell, who was at least who's in the first episode and then later passes on, or would you see Mads getting casted in, or who else could you see just being brought in?
I love Mads, as an actor. He did amazing as Hannibal Lecter. I know he was, controversial, like people either loved him or hated him in that, but I think he'll bring like a quiet sort of serial killer, subtle anger to the role that, Johnny Depp is, he doesn't go in and play the character. You get Johnny Depp and then he plays Johnny Depp in a costume at this point of his career. People don't see Johnny Depp, or they don't see the character, they see Johnny Depp. So, I don't like how he exited. And, I don't think it was very fair, but I would be for Mads. I think he would knock it out of the park. And I think we would get a depth to the character that, we wouldn't with Johnny. He's awesome, but he's not a dramatic actor, anymore. to that level. So I think he'd bring a cool seriousness to it. Yeah.
Mayhem, who would you like to see replacing Johnny Depp out of the two? Or would you pick someone probably different than you've seen from the Harry Potter films that, they kind of tend to hide who they get in the trailers until you end up watching the movie. And then you go, all right, now I see why they picked him.
I don't have anybody right at the moment, but I would like to see some fresh new face with this one. Johnny Depp, when he's on a roll, he's on a roll. Unfortunately, he's been asked to resign on this one. Colin Farrell, I don't think is a right fit. Man, but who knows? Maybe he's got something there. I would definitely like to see a fresh new face and just kind of blow us out the water with this, because I think with the Harry Potter or connected Harry Potter universe, people are looking for more representation, more people to show, more actors, and just to dive us into it. So like a new face wouldn't be, honestly, not that bad of a decision. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be something awesome, honestly.
Bergy, your thoughts on the whole Johnny Depp exit of the Fantastic Beasts?
Not with it. I kind of like Johnny Depp as Grindelwald. I think he's getting a raw deal here, and I don't agree with it. But I don't cut his check, as Mayhem likes to say.
Cut the check.
Cut the check. I'm not cutting the check, so that's not my call. Hopefully the fans will say their piece too in it. Mads Mikkelsen, I don't see him playing Grindelwald. I think he might play a really cool character in there somewhere. I don't know if I want to see him as Grindelwald. I don't know. I kind of dig Colin Farrell in it, but I get not going back to him because of the way he had like some type of a charm on where he looked a different way, and then it went to Johnny Depp as the other character. So you're going to have to pick a completely different actor. You also got to get a character that looks a little bit more aged, probably in their late 30s, early 40s, maybe 50s or so, something along those lines. So I don't think you're going to go too young with it, because you want to show that he's an older character to go with Dumbledore, who's being played by Jude Law. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who they pick. I hope they don't go with an unknown, because I think it might hurt the character and the cast, because this is supposedly going to be a main character that's going to stay on the screen time with Jude Law and Redmayne. They're supposed to have like 30%, like each of them supposed to have equal acting time in the movie. So you got to get someone that's going to carry their scenes that can match with them too. If not, you're going to just overpower their acting, and it's going to be bad. It'll definitely be the worst one of the movies.
Well, as of right now, time will tell and everything, because Warner Brothers is key for doing that, especially when Dumbledore, the original actor who played Dumbledore, passed away. After the second movie, he was immediately replaced. And if everyone remembers those trailers for the third installment, they refused to have him in any of the trailers, so that fans were eager to watch the movie to find out who the next Dumbledore was going to be.
Right.
So hopefully Warner Brothers has learned from that awesome move to continue on. That'll be the one time Warner Brothers does something smart when it comes to their movie franchises. On to the next, pretty much. And this is like the big controversy, I guess, of this year, we'll say, only because fans have brought it up and people are not talking about this. I mean, is Batman Returns a Christmas movie?
No.
What?
No.
Talking about no.
No, don't even bother. No.
Wait. Yes, we're going through this. You can explain why you're going to say no. As we've passed Thanksgiving and jumped right into Christmas, so has the list of movies. While some of you are avoiding the Hallmark Channel's unrealistic romantic Christmas channel, well, we also have the list of action thrillers, such as the movies that we like to talk, especially like Night Before Christmas, to Die Hard. Now, if everyone remembers with Batman, yes, they have snow, they have a Christmas tree, they even have a Santa, they sort of have a Santa, they even have a little Belle the Ball, I like to say Belle the Ball, princess of her pushing the button down to light the Christmas tree. And yes, there are presents all around to go around for Batman Returns. So the big question is Batman Returns a Christmas movie? Because don't forget the line, Alfred turns to Batman and says, "Merry Christmas, Bruce." And he returns says, "Merry Christmas." Sammy, what do you think? Is this a topic to talk about? Mayhem, you hold that breath right there, bro.
So technically it is a Christmas movie because it hits all of the hallmarks of an actual Christmas movie. And these hallmarks are unofficially derived from The Christmas Carol from 1938. And that's been kind of like the basis of what makes a Christmas movie. So you've got, it's set at Christmas time. It's got a lot of Christmas iconography. So, you know, candy canes, Christmas trees. It plays at least one Christmas song. Christmas is discussed, albeit briefly. And, you know, arguably the biggest thing of a Christmas movie, you know, dictated like, you know, It's a Wonderful Life, is that your character learns a lot, like the character learns a valuable lesson to improve life. And technically Bruce does. So technically it is a Christmas movie. Is it about Santa? No. Is it about, you know, it's actually more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard. But Die Hard is technically a Christmas movie as well, because it hits all of those iconographies as well. Now, this is highly subjective, of course, because it's not like SAG or you know, the film industry has what makes a Christmas movie. It's just the original Christmas movie, not the Santa Claus one from the 1800s, but the Christmas Carol filmed in 1938 basically was what, after World War II, is what all Christmas movies sort of troped off of. And it's just evolved over the years. So technically it is a Christmas movie. It's just not a Christian Santa movie.
So Sammy says Batman Returns a Christmas movie. Mayhem have opposite thoughts. I mean, did you not like the candy cane? Did you not like the Rockets in her Christmas average? Yeah, it even have gifts. I mean, even the Penguins celebrated Christmas.
Are you done? I had to take off my mask for this. I had to take off my mask for this slander. Like this Christmas slander and pandemic. Like, let me tell you something. Christmas movies are about Christmas, point blank, period. You got Klaus, you got Christmas, even the Polar Express, Christmas movies. Gremlins. So if we take Batman Returns, Die Hard 1 and 2, then Gremlins the Christmas. No, they just take place around Christmas. It's the setting of Christmas, but it's not about Christmas. Die Hard 1 and 2 is not about Christmas. It just takes place around that time. Gremlins, not about Christmas, around that time. You know, the Batman Returns. Come on, like what are you talking about? Christmas is. This is how you guys end up in purgatory. Okay, I'm like, there's no religion here. This is how you guys are like. Yeah, we're gonna go in purgatory. Because the one above all is like, you know what? I gave you a specific holiday, and you try to make Gremlins, and you try to make Batman Returns about it. It's not a Christmas movie. Fall back. What about Frosty the Snowman? What about the reindeer? Y'all are doing them wrong.
Snowman's not about Christmas, according to your rule.
The movie Frost. So by your standards alone, the Christmas movie known as Frost, that was played by Michael Keaton as well too, is also a Christmas movie, even though it's set in the Christmas setting. Same thing how you're just complaining how Gremlins isn't about Christmas.
Snowman had Santa make that man who went to celebrate Christmas and tell people. I don't know what y'all talking about. It was a Christmas movie about Christmas.
Mayhem wants.
I hope y'all don't get any gifts today except coal and the Batman Returns DVD. I said it.
Picture.
Mayhem, he wants the Hallmark version. Trust me, this will be worse. The Hallmark version of Batman Returns and the Hallmark version of Christmas, which will probably have a gremlin chasing the girl gremlin to find love, and they don't kiss until the very end of the movie, and that's their version of Christmas. Bergy.
Don't get me started on Gremlins. Don't get me started on, especially Gremlins 2 with the female gremlin at the end. What I will say is, I believe they left the interpretation for Christmas wide open so they can include a lot more movies and rake in more money from it. Obviously, it's a marketing play because, hey,
logo.
Wu-Tang.
That too. It is forever. That logo is forever. But Bergy, is Batman Returns a Christmas movie in your opinion?
No. I'm sorry. No.
Thank you.
You cannot.
Okay. Okay. Go. Go ahead. Go.
I'm sorry. I get it. Everyone wants to sit there. Same thing with like Die Hard. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie, guys. It is about a man that takes, is trying to free his wife in a skyscraper during the Christmas time. Like that to me is not Christmas movie. I get it. It's played during Christmas time. You think of the movies that you play during Christmas time. I have a certain few movies I watch every year. I will watch every year for Christmas. Tragically, Batman Returns is not one of them. Die Hard, not one of them. It is not. I'm sorry. I get it. Everyone's like, it's Bruce Willis. Yeah, yippee-ki-yay, whatever. It's a great movie. It's not Christmas. Same thing with Batman Returns. Like, no, not happening. I view like the movies The Ref. That to me with Dennis Leary. I love that movie. I watch that one every year. Dutch with Ed O'Neill from Married with Children. Absolutely love those movies. Stuff like that. Home Alone. Those are Christmas movies. Things like that. That is Christmas movie. So technically would be, Nightmare Before Christmas, which is an animation. Is that an Halloween movie or Christmas movie? Is based off of Halloween style characters that found Christmas and made it a Christmas movie. So it is that Halloween or is that Christmas? Independence Day. Is that a 4th of July movie? Because Will Smith saved the world from a bunch of aliens and he figured out a virus on a floppy disk, ended everything. Like, come on. No, like, let's stop with this stuff. Like, I get it. Your version of Christmas is different than my version of Christmas. Your version of Thanksgiving is different than mine. I just don't see those. I'm sorry. I think Batman Returns is probably one of the worst movies I ever watched. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All I'm going to say
Not
is
that
this.
good.
I'm going to say this, though. Granted, there are a lot of Halloween movies as well, too. How many of you can actually name a Thanksgiving movie? Because guess what? That list is shorter than anything else when it comes to Christmas-style movies, because when it comes to family traditions, there are no Thanksgiving movies.
Okay, can we say one thing?
Charlie Brown. That's the only one I can think of.
Movie.
Can I just say
I'm
one
going to talk
thing?
about a movie from the 1940s and 50s. We're going to go straight to Charlie Brown. Go ahead, man.
What happens is with Halloween, after Halloween, everybody just seems to skip over Thanksgiving and go straight into Christmas. Even at Thanksgiving, they're playing Christmas movies. And I would argue, Bergy, that Home Alone isn't a Christmas movie because it's about a robbery and how it right? But okay, I can take that.
But you see,
all right, someone just said Knives Out. Someone just said Knives Out is a Thanksgiving movie. So why isn't this on the list of things to watch for Thanksgiving instead of watching the football game? Because
we only come in for the food. We only come in for the food. We don't care about
the food, the float, the
food.
parade. That's all we care about. The float.
Right.
we only care about the float, the parade, and the right.
End of the Thanksgiving Day parade. So then that makes it a Christmas parade, not a Thanksgiving one.
The Thanksgiving Day parade ends with Christmas.
Yeah.
The Thanksgiving Day parade ends with Christmas.
So that makes it Christmas.
But every Walmart, every Target, whatever Kmart is left over, whatever department store is left, the second October hits, we are blessed with nothing but Christmas music or the Christmas decorations starting, and we don't even talk about Halloween or Thanksgiving as if they don't even exist.
Dude,
So,
this year for 2020, Christmas started showing up in August and September and everything. Like they were putting that stuff out before it. It's doing it every year. It's not just this. It's a commercialized. Yes. Christmas is commercialized. Yes. You cannot tell me another way. I work in retail. Yes. Anybody who's ever worked in retail, we get it. We know it.
Oh my God. And we hate the Mariah Carey song. Stop playing it.
Mariah Carey.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Michael Bublé, Mariah Carey, and there was that other guy, Michael something. He does a "Ain't No Mountain High Enough" song or something like that. Like they remastered it. I remember when I worked at Best Buy, we threatened to kill the manager there if he kept playing the damn DVD. Like we hated it. It was that bad. Like,
all right, well, go ahead, Sammy.
So to get back to the actual topic of
Christmas movies.
Batman Returns is a Christmas movie.
So for you guys, what you're saying is that it doesn't matter the iconography, the fact that it takes place during Christmas time, the actual plot of the film has to directly correlate to Christmas. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's a Christmas movie to me.
Okay.
That's like saying, because then it's the difference between an autobiography and a well-told story that included somebody. Yeah, so that's the way I look at it.
So is every horror movie that's ever made based on even on Christmas time a Halloween movie? The horror movie could have been what was it? That one that What about
Krampus.
Jensen Ackles, My Bloody Valentine? Is that a Valentine movie or is it a Halloween movie?
The Valentine's Day movie,
Right,
because it
but
was
it's a
based.
blood,
It's a
but Halloween's based off of gore and everything like that, and killing and whatnot and stuff. So shouldn't that be a Halloween movie versus more than a romantic Valentine movie?
So it all depends on the area of when the movie is, because people forget that one of the Final Destination movies sits during a 4th of July. So one part of Final Destination sits on 4th of July, while another part of it actually sat for Thanksgiving. So it all depends on the time period of when the movie takes place. Granted, we could talk about Night Before Christmas, where it starts in October and the movie finishes it on Christmas. So it is that time period of Halloween to Christmas. That's the reason why Night Before Christmas won't stop playing between October to December.
Actually, Hash, technically it finished. It didn't finish. Did it finish? I don't think it finished on Christmas. It's a weird time space continuum thing.
It did finish on Christmas because remember he was getting shot down because he was delivered everything, and as he was flying around,
wasn't that in his world? Wasn't that in the Christmas world?
No, it's their world with different pipe dimensions. So, finally, Jack found the dimensions to go to other places, and Lock, Stock, and Barrel found Easter.
Right. Yep. I remember. I remember that. But I believe, I'm going to watch it again because I just watched it recently. And I remember the guy was like, we only have 365 days until Christmas. And the wolf was like 364. But I don't remember the preparation time in between. So maybe I'm wrong on that. Listen, I'm just going to say this because we're going to move on. I think we're going to go back and forth. If it's not about Christmas, it's not a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas inclusive movie, but it's not a Christmas movie. Okay? It's just like, it's horrible that you guys are saying this. That Batman is a Christmas movie.
He's gonna watch.
I don't think
he's gonna watch Batman Returns.
Deliver gifts, okay?
Listen, you're gonna watch Batman Returns.
I'm not.
Probably sometime this week. If not that, I'm gonna make you. Then you know what? You're coming over. We're gonna watch Batman Returns. Basically, while everyone's waiting, while everyone's probably gonna wait on Mayhem to come over to watch Batman Returns, all you guys pretty much have to wait till next year to get their version of WandaVision. And my opinion is WandaVision. And what does this all mean? When WandaVision finally airs on Disney Plus, it will be packed with Easter eggs. Eggs, you say? Yes, that kind of eggs. Like how Vision is alive. How it is tied to the new Doctor Strange movie, how this will bring the X-Men during the WandaVision sitcom. Yes, when I say multiverse sitcom, this is just a 6 to 7 part movie style sitcom episode, which will be packed with nothing but Easter eggs. Even more, we'll probably have to go back to those episodes when Doctor Strange movie starts getting released. And who's to say a significant magnetic father shows up during the sitcom as well too? Who's excited for Marvel's next phase and us seeing WandaVision? Sammy, let's start with you first. What kind of Easter eggs would you be excited to see? Would you like to see Vision explained of him being alive, and what characters you would like to see into their version of WandaVision multiverse?
I think I want hints to the future, like if they're going to be, putting in, X-Men or, and a lot of maybe some nods to her origins through the comics, because I know they do put her in her comic, the red capey costume. But I think it's going to be a really cool lead in, to the multiverse. So I definitely want Easter eggs that I absolutely don't understand right now in it. So that when I go and see Doctor Strange, then I go back and watch it and go, oh, like that. So it'd be interesting to see, because they're obviously going to connect the two because she's the, the gateway to, making the multiverse a thing. But I want them to hint to like the X-Men and, maybe Fantastic Four and some of these properties that we don't normally get to see a lot of since Fox had them for so long, outside of Spider-Man. And some, fan favorite comic book stuff that happened with her and maybe, Quicksilver. So stuff that I don't see right away. And then like future films come out and then I go back and go, oh, so it makes rewatchability.
Right. So you're waiting to see those minor spoilers when it jumps into the next movie, but meanwhile, WandaVision had the vision for it first.
Right.
Mayhem, you seem to be all up in arms waiting to talk about WandaVision. Look at your face. Your
So
thoughts on WandaVision and where this all means.
First of all, I hope it comes out soon so that our lovely fans doesn't say it's a Christmas series.
There is a Christmas
Come out
episode.
on Christmas.
There is a Christmas episode.
There's a
Oh my
tree in
God.
it. There's a Christmas
Oh
tree.
my God,
in it.
it's a tree in it. It's a Christmas series. No, but in all seriousness, I'm looking forward to this dropping. I've been excited for a long time. As a bite my tongue. I want this series to come out and with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier obviously to come as well. Like Sammy touched upon, the multiverse theory. Oh, we can't wait to see how they attack that, and then obviously bring in X-Men because I mean, come on, the Magnetic Father. Are we gonna get Magneto? Come on, are we gonna get Magneto? So then there's X-Men, there's mutants. So then that's gonna bring a thing. And then Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany as Wanda and Vision, respectively, are really great actors. Can we say that? Like, they're really great actors. And I would love to see them expand in their own universe and see so many Easter eggs of things going around and what's to come. Like, this is going to be a great series, not only for just the Easter eggs, but for the acting and the setup for a lot of different things. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, the Winter Soldier and the Falcon. I can't wait.
I think you're more waiting to see how this ties into Doctor Strange, to see when he opens that Pandora's box door of Spider-Verse. That's basically.
Don't get me started. My doctor said I had too much high blood pressure from this. Okay, I have to calm down because I'm ready. I'm ready. What? They just released the game.
You just want to know when this happens,
yes,
and what to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen. And if we get cartoon version Spider-Man 2, or if we get Neil Patrick Harris. But anyway, Bergy, what kind of insight, especially like everything you've read about WandaVision and the huge delay in toys? I mean, we talk about the toy market, and we're seeing this huge delay. And we saw Hasbro just release the movie version of Wanda and Vision again, just as a teaser, without them spoiling anything else. But we got to see Funko Pops release all those toys, especially the black and white version of them, to them holding Halloween decorations. We didn't get to see the Christmas decorations. We did get to see the Halloween versions. What are your thoughts with everything happening?
I mean, I'm looking forward to WandaVision all day long just because it's going to lead into all of the new stuff. And there's going to be so many Easter eggs that are going to go into Doctor Strange, possibly Spider-Man. It's got something's got to tie into what is it? The Winter Soldier, Falcon, Winter Soldier. We're going to get probably something that's going to cater into Captain Marvel because they're showing Monica Rambeau. So we are going to get a lot of different stuff. And if we're talking about somebody for Magneto, I know Giancarlo Esposito has been named a lot there. But honestly, if we want to go with somebody, why not Mads Mikkelsen here? Yeah. Tell me Mads Mikkelsen would not play a perfect Magneto, like a villain-style character, but could also be very, loving towards his kids or something like that. In a way, if we're going to make him the dad, I would be down to see Mads part of that. But I get it. You won't be able to because he was part of Doctor Strange. But guess what? Yeah, he played that wizard in Doctor Strange. Maybe he's the one that now comes out somehow, and that's how we get him. I think it'd be really cool. There's a lot of twisted stuff that they can do with this. As far as some of the toy lines go, I think that they're doing that to delay it because they don't want to give away certain things in the show. Certain characters, certain, sequences. There's been rumors running rampant for this entire production of what they're doing for certain ones is Death. You got Monica Rambeau for Captain Marvel. I mean, she's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or SWORD now part of that. So I'm looking forward to all of this stuff. It's going to be incredible. Supposedly the rumored date now, though, for Mayhem, January 15th is the rumored date for that show to come out. I can understand why they probably won't do it this year because you got to figure this is probably going to take us until at least the first week or second week of December is the Mandalorian. 2 weeks before Christmas, people are going to be too busy watching, Die Hard and Batman Returns, so we won't be able to watch the show correctly. So, tongue in cheek, guys. So we wouldn't want to ruin those Christmas movies. So we're going to wait until January now for that. So I think by January 15th, that's when this is coming out. We're gonna get that first. That's when it's gonna be.
Yeah, but I'm more interested.
Batman Returns with a Christmas hat on Christmas.
Batman Christmas hat on. Let's get it straight. Batman Christmas hat. And we got to make sure, Mayhem, your Christmas gift this year is going to be the Batman Christmas hat. Just so you can wear it all the time.
Every non-Christmas movie, like just as like a DVD collection.
Right. But to be honest, like we were just talking before, one of the Funko Pops that was released was a pregnant version of Wanda.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see. And the rumor is going around that Quicksilver from the original series or from the MCU is going to make an appearance. But when Magneto is going to come in, we don't know. And I'm really hoping that some of the original cast members do come back, because I am a big fan of the second Magneto of the X-Men First Class. I do love that cast, and I hope like somehow they make it back. But I get it; they want someone older, pretty much in the same age range as everyone. But if they bring in Professor X and Magneto, I'm okay with that too. Bring them back because they were the stronger of the X-Men cast. Go ahead, Bergy.
So I have a question. So do we think this is the House of M? This is them doing the House of M.
This is their slowly
version
going
of the
in.
House. This is their version of the House of M, but we don't have Peter Parker, who basically was the one that recognized everything, was like, there's something off here. So how are they tying this all in? I think it's a fantastic storyline. I love the House of M. It was probably hands down one of my favorite comics I read back in the day. Like, I absolutely love that line. So we know this is what this movie is, this TV series is based off of. And I love it. I think it's going to be great.
All of this will probably go back, right before Mayhem says, all this will probably go back to what they finish off doing with Spider-Man. And it seems like Marvel seems to be in the right position when it comes to doing when it comes to the Spider-Man storyline. We've seen the demise of Spider-Man 3, and we've seen the demise of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. The fact that this is out of Sony's hands and at the Marvel's hands when it comes to a storyline would be amazing to see if they use even Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire later down the line to explain other storylines. Mayhem, go ahead.
So first of all, Mads Mikkelsen. See, it had to come out for this. Mads Mikkelsen is a great actor. I agree with Sam. I didn't get a chance to say that before because I watched him in Hannibal. I think it was on Netflix. Mm-hmm. He had me. Okay, I think I was originally introduced to him as a Bond villain, with the Daniel Craig, and I look forward to that new movie coming out too. And we got a Black 00. Anyway. Let's talk about WandaVision. I think if they're doing House of N, remember, Wanda is so powerful that she affected multiple realities. Mm-hmm. So this could be an alternate reality that had that set up. Now, if it's not, then you know she's going to have a breakdown. You know that she's going to have a meltdown. It is going to obviously open up different multiverses. How they're going to continue it, I think we're looking for the answer more so from after Endgame for what Captain America did and what happened in between that time. You understand? Mm-hmm. Because once he went back to live his life, he created a different universe. You know what I'm saying? So then now it's like maybe Falcon and the Winter Soldier might also explain that as well, depending on who drops first. Or maybe they'll explain a little bit afterwards. So that's where we're going from. But honestly, if they're doing House of M, which would be phenomenal, I think
it's going to set up. It's going to set up.
Yeah, they got to set it up. I don't think it's going to happen right off the bat.
WandaVision comes first. Then we'll get Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then we'll probably get the next Spider-Man installment movie, and then becomes the giant post-credit scenes will make us go crazy until we have to go to Doctor Strange's post-credit scene where we probably lose our marbles. Bergy, go.
Well, and the funny thing is, if you think about House of M, at the end of it, because she wanted to get rid of all the mutants, she literally said, no more mutants. And whatever was on the planet at that time was all that there was mutants left. So if they died, they died. Same thing. So now maybe she's the one that's going to create superpowered beings, and maybe she does this. So instead of it, she's basically reversing it. Maybe she's how we get the mutants in, the X-Men in, everything, stuff like that, instead of them coming out because of her in the House of M. So she's got the power to do it. She's the most powerful person. She could have taken Thanos out. If he didn't say hail, rainfire, she had him. She was going to crunch him up like a little toy can. Like, we know it. So it'll be interesting.
It's not, when she said no more mutants, it didn't kill the mutants. It just stopped them from having power.
Correct.
So
we'll stop them from being found too. No more mutants were being like born in a way.
As if like they never had power to begin with. Yeah.
So she stopped everything. what's Bergy, I like where you're going with this. I don't think they're gonna go that far because then it kind of loops around. We're gonna have, I think Marvel's playing a very smart game versus where we only had maybe 1 or 2 branches telling the story of what happened. We're now gonna have 4 different branches. Doctor
But do you want a
Strange,
quick spoiler?
Spider-Man.
By the way, this spoiler already happened where no more mutants are born. We forget the movie Logan. Even though it's a Fox brand movie, we forget that the 30 years or so, Wolver or someone says in a scientist, mutants
Yes.
have been born for over 30 years.
So
But is
honestly,
it? Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not connecting the two. But it was a mini spoiler at one point where during the movie Logan was all this actually happening as well too. That the past 30 years or so, mutants weren't born; they were made in a cell using previous DNA.
Okay. Good, Sammy.
WandaVision's going to be a reset button. It's just going to
Yeah.
be a straight up reset button, and to bring everything back. So what's probably going to happen is Marvel also, like Marvel Studios / Disney, also has a way of taking what we know from the comics, keeping the gist of it, and then changing it to suit their needs. So I think they will do something, because right now Wanda is the most powerful, in the entire universe, in the entire MCU. She's the most powerful. So I kind of think with not exactly, she's not going to know, but during her breakdown, she's gonna make mutants. That's the only feasible way they can start incorporating that. And I think they're going to do it in the fact that it's going to just start springing up as opposed to here's this established group already. So while we've got Iron Man and everybody 10 years in advance, the X-Men they're going to be like the beginning team that's going to get together. So we're reintroduced from the very beginning, as opposed to a 30-year-old Jean Grey or an old, Professor X. So
He said, "Oh."
yeah. What?
Yeah, well, we'll
He
see.
said,
Well,
"Oh, Logan, like Logan isn't already old."
like Logan isn't
I
already.
loved it. No, I loved it.
Anyway, speaking of outrage from the fans and everything, we also have this little outrage right here, and that is Mandalorian fans were outraged over the baby Yoda eating the frog lady eggs. If you haven't watched, if you're not up to chapter 10 or 11 of the Mandalorian, spoilers ahead, ladies and gentlemen, turn us off. Or you know what, keep watching, because guess what? This is all about a context that happened during the show, and then this happened 2 days prior. But let us know if you've been keeping up with the Mandalorian. Let us know if you watched chapter 10. Let us know if you watched TheChild, Baby Yoda being cute by being a little fatty and started eating eggs. Let us know if you thought that was genocide. Yeah, that's right. Just a day before chapter 11 was released, yeah, when I mean just days, just 2 days before chapter 11 was released, an article blew up of how Baby Yoda almost created genocides. Fans wrote in a deep disturbance that the child was going down on those eggs. Like when I mean going downtown, like he wasn't munching on them. He was just cheating. Like he had a cheat day. That's what it looked like. All is normal now. All is normal now in the world. We love Baby Yoda again. And it seems that fans already don't know about the Star Wars or the light side. What do you guys think? Do you really think the series was going to go in that direction? Or fans just blowing this up out of proportion because they don't know anything about the light side of Star Wars? Sammy, let's start with you.
I think it's, I think it was a tactic of humor, very dry humor, but we also don't know anything about Yoda's, race. We know of one, and his name's Yoda, and now we have this child. So he's an infant. So what do infants do? They're hungry. They put things in their mouths.
Right.
I think they literally took it as like a funny thing that kids do all the time. I mean, how many times have you seen a kid in a restaurant just reach over and grab something off a plate and shove it in its mouth? And if he didn't like it, he spit it out. And if he liked it, he reached for more. I think they're definitely like just outraged over nothing. And it is unexpected, and I think that was very purposeful because again, we don't know anything about this race except the one that was 900 years old, and they are definitely trying to set this character specifically apart from Yoda, because we're calling it Baby Yoda because all we know of the child is that it looks like a Baby Yoda. And I think this is a step Disney is taking so that we separate that idea of this being an infant Yoda and that mentality that, this kid's going to be the same as the actual character of Yoda. So I think it was very purposeful, and the kid's cheeky. Like, it's hilarious. I don't see what the whole genocide thing was all about. He ate like maybe 5 or 6. She had plenty. Genocide. It's fine.
I mean, look, it was like a kid eating cupcakes. Like the kid, like there's cupcakes on the table. That's what it looked like to me. The kid was just eating cupcakes.
An old frog in the last season.
Thank you.
Ate spiders and he ate spiders. He literally went out of his way, and we're going, holy crap, it's an alien. He literally went out of the way, grabbed it, and shoved it in his mouth. Yeah, exactly. Mayhem, what did you think about this crazy outrage? And you don't believe in the fans and them not understanding Star Wars lore?
I'm gonna take a joke that I see and it said that Baby Yoda likes his eggs scrambled. Oh my god, you guys are horrible, but I love it. It's not genocide. I thought it was a joke when I first heard about it. I heard it was a joke, but then obviously it picked up steam and they're really outraged about it. Once again, to kind of like piggyback off of what Sammy said, it is an alien. We don't know what kind of species it is, but you guys forget, like, he was chowing down an actual bullfrog in season 1, or whatever kind of alien frog it was. So, like, of course, being that he's a child, that is cheeky, from touching the button when the Mandalorian told him not to do it, from nearly choking out the girl whose name I can't remember back when they were arm wrestling. Like, he's a child. He doesn't know what he's doing. You understand? To the extent he ate the egg. And people are saying it's genocide. It's the last brood of her cycle, not the last of her species. Meaning these are the last eggs that she's going to produce. There are other frog ladies out there that are going to continue the species. So your use of genocide is wrong. It really sounds like snowflakes, the same snowflakes who got Power Rangers kind of like, went from like, all right, PG-13 to kind of like just PG. Like, they're here now. Power Rangers should be cool. We used to have the swords and the guns, whatever. And they were like, oh, my kid now likes to fight from watching this show. You should take it off. And then they had to like make it PG instead of just saying, well, tell your kid stop watching.
Those are the same kids playing Grand Theft Auto 5.
You're the parent. Tell your kid stop watching and deal with the issue.
Right. As they said, like, it's probably the same kids that literally played Grand Theft Auto, went into the woods with their character when they had the car. Mm-hmm. Just so they can see the car move when they had that special character in their car. Anyway, Bergy, your thoughts on the whole... Is this really a disturbance in the Force? I mean, it's to my opinion, it's not. This is not a disturbance in the Force. No. It's just a child eating and, like, really? Like, we have to discuss this.
I mean, I can think of a few ways. I like my eggs. I like them scrambled. I like them poached. I like them fried, sunny side up.
Medium.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, I have a couple of ways. It's like I have a lot of ways I like my eggs. I was going to touch upon it, and Mayhem said it before I did. Remember, people, if you watch the episode, she said this was the last of her cycle, not her species. So it's not genocide. As Mayhem said, your use in the term of genocide is completely off. So we're okay with Anakin Skywalker murdering a bunch of younglings. We're okay with that. We're okay with Anakin Skywalker going back to Tatooine and murdering sand people because they murdered his mother. We're okay with that. But we're not okay with a child. Has anybody have a small niece, nephew that's under the age of 2 years old or 3 years old? Great. Have you ever tried to get them to do anything and stop them from doing something? No, you can't. Good luck with it. I have like 8, 9 nieces and nephews. They don't stop for anything. Like, good luck. We've seen that with the Baby Yoda. He's touching the button, and he takes a little ball off the thing, and Mando's like, what am I going to do? Like, there was nothing to do. That child was going to eat those eggs. unfertilized eggs, by the way. They were literally just round globes. That's it. So if you have an issue with that, do not buy any eggs from the supermarket. Do not buy any eggs. Do anybody like caviar? Don't eat those caviar eggs because that's basically what they are. So if you have an issue with that, don't. Like, seriously, stop. Like, I agree with Mike, snowflakes all day long. And the downfall is there's nothing else to argue about in the world right now. They got their
What are you talking about?
President.
Caviar eggs are delicacy. How many in this panel here have actually eaten caviar?
Bergy,
I haven't.
say
I don't like it.
For the people in the back.
Hey, so if this is a genocide, as Mayhem and everyone have all described, and this all happened before anyone can even jump into like the next episode. So I love the fact that like this have to be 2 days prior to the episode even happening. And I like in Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and then Disney fashion, this is the one time they actually brushed it off and didn't actually like explain a darn thing because they don't have to, because they just go
billions off of this.
Next episode, you don't know jack what you're talking about.
Right.
And that's basically what it was, is that the fan who wrote the article didn't know jack. The fans who watched the series don't know jack about genocide or Star Wars or anything that has to do with any of them, let alone the dark side, the light side. And as you all said, yes, we've actually seen genocide happen in the Star Wars lore, while this wasn't actually it. And yes, he is a child. And you guys all explained it. What do you tell a child? If you have a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, if you are a parent too, and you tell your kid not to do it, real parents, you tell your kids not to do it, $50, bro. I'm saying your kid does it again. Let's do $100. Don't do this again. And I bet you your kid will do it. And that includes other things as well too in public. That's a whole other story. But your kid is going to do it over and over again. Granted, this is a 50-year being, but they don't explain how the actual age is. And we've seen it time and time again. This child has put things in its mouth that it doesn't belong to, and the Mandalorian says, spit that out.
You want to talk about genocide? I'm sorry, Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader wiping out the Jedi race. That's genocide, people. Learn the term. Learn the term before you use it.
Does anybody remember Death Star clearing a whole planet? Does anybody remember that?
Took out Alderaan.
Yeah, no, that's all genocide.
No, that's
just extermination.
Yeah, extermination doesn't matter. No. It furthered the Empire's goal, so they didn't matter. They didn't care. I did love, though, some of the people on Twitter and stuff like that. There was one, I saw a meme. I thought it was hilarious. I actually saved it on my phone. And it's like, oh, all this episode proved was Baby Yoda likes boba tea. And it was little balls, and he's sitting there drinking it. I thought it was hilarious. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was
There you go. All artists out there alone, make a child piece with him holding a cup of bubble tea.
The meme was a caricature, like
watch true snowflakes freak out over the fact that it's bubble tea, thinking that it's eggs. But anyway,
can I make one more before you go? So we're going to complain that Baby Yoda was eating some eggs that were unfertilized, right? But how about the fact that the mother basically took her children away from the safety of the ship? No, safety of the ship when they crash land. Took them, put them in a pool. You don't know what's in that pool. You basically you put your children in harm's way. So you are a poor mother. And then all of a sudden you see all these like alien like ice spiders and whatnot coming at you. Like, really? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the
how about that the mother put her own eggs in boiling hot water?
Correct. She cooked them. Like,
she cooked them a bit. They were cooked. If it was at hard-boiled eggs, you put any hard-boiled egg in something in 10 minutes. It's hard-boiled any which way you look at it. Any egg, including an ostrich.
She was making breakfast for Baby Yoda right there, all right? I'm just saying.
Instant hard-boiled egg for Baby Yoda.
For you.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
process. Anyway, here's one process that we wish would happen literally tomorrow. And that is the Constantine sequel is in the works, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, in a pseudo-failed attempt, Marvel has... after Marvel has failed many attempts to get their hands on Keanu Reeves, Lucifer himself comes out to give us some amazing news. Yes, Peter Stormare, who played Lucifer in Constantine, has just confirmed on his Twitter account that they will be working on a sequel to Constantine. But as of right now, DC, Warner Brothers, and Reeves have not confirmed this. but J.J. Abrams is reported and stated that they are working on a new Constantine project that's in the works. What do you think this will probably end up being? Is this the start of probably the Justice League Dark? Or nah, we just want another Keanu Reeves movie? Sammy, what do you think? You excited to get another Keanu Reeves movie, especially Constantine?
I really liked the first Constantine, and I loved him as Lucifer. He was awesome. And Keanu Reeves is it's well documented that he said he would always do, if the opportunity came up, he would always do a second Constantine film. So I like the fact that they also have Abrams attached to it, because you're going to get for the most part, you're going to get great cinematography. Hopefully, not as many lens flares as Star Trek, but
the lens glare of the second movie.
Lens flares. Didn't you know that a lens flare equaled the future? But Keanu Reeves doesn't lately. He's more involved in the back end of the film, and I think Constantine was always a film that it was very different, and he wanted to continue. So I'm really excited for it, and I really think that it is going to be a tie-in for the Justice League Dark, or Dark Justice League, whatever it's called, because they're supposed to be doing the Abrams is also working on the team film with Zatanna, Constantine, and what's the third guy? The third character in that supernatural team.
Dr. Fate?
The Hawkman or Blue Beetle.
Yeah, maybe it's Blue Beetle or Dr. Fate. But they had a team. Yeah.
We also
had
have Dead Man too. You also have Boston Dead Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I like the fact that they're bringing out Constantine, and it really does show that I think it got pushed through because they're finally, thanks to potentially new member or new rule or guidance from the new CEO, that they're listening to the fans for the popularity of characters from their television shows and hopefully translating that to film. So, I don't think if they didn't have Constantine in the TV shows, or even tried to do that Constantine solo show, I don't think we would have seen a second Constantine film. But they see how popular the character is.
That failed.
Say that again?
It was the Constantine animated series, and it was a Constantine live action that both failed.
Live action, yeah. But he's still a good character. He's just not the way they wrote him. He's not a good enough character to carry an entire franchise because the actor is not Keanu Reeves. That makes a big difference. I loved Constantine in.
He's an amazing actor. Yes, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is an amazing actor, but no pun doing it.
Yeah, and I loved him in. I'm lagging a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. I loved him in Legends, but I didn't like him in his solo. So I think if we hadn't had him, we would have never gotten this second Constantine film.
All right, Mayhem, your thoughts on Constantine, and would you love to see Justice League Dark? I mean, your eyes lit up the second we talked about Justice League Dark.
Let me tell you something.
You're the DC
Let me tell you something, okay? So I was 14 when Constantine. No, yeah, I was 14 when the Constantine movie came out. No, I was lying. I was 19. Numbers, I know them. So when it came out in 2005, actually, I did not have high hopes for it. I didn't think it was going to be all that great. I thought it was like, whatever. But me and my friend came out of that movie theater. We did the breaking of the glass. We were hyped about it. And then I saw it, I think it was recently, maybe about 2 months recently, on Netflix. And it's still a good movie. It still holds up. I'm excited. And I do hope they bring in aged Keanu Reeves back to this. And I think if they knock it off the park with Constantine 2, with Keanu Reeves, or somebody who's just as good, it's going to take off. And by taking off, then DC will be able to help build their world and build their universe. By all means, give us Justice League Dark. We love that. We love just Constantine. We love Zatanna in this, especially. Like when things go bad, it's like Suicide Squad, but it's for like the good guys in a sense. You know, so like in the comic book version. So if we can get that and translate it from the comic books onto the main screen, then yes, I can see a series. I can see more movies coming out. I can see a whole universe being built, and hopefully they bridge the series and movies together, so that way we can get more stuff and it's just linear. It just makes sense. Oh my god, I can't wait! I'm excited.
Remember, that's part of their small screen, the big screen version, where just like the kids that they get for the small screen stay small screen. The big actors will become part of the big screen. And granted, we'll never get the multiverse we really want out of DC. But guess what? As far as their shows are concerned, they're doing a pretty okay job with that. Bergy, your thought on the sequel to Constantine, the return of Lucifer. I mean, are you surprised that like it's Lucifer giving us this happy news? I mean, look. Lucifer's always giving us bad news. This is one time we get Lucifer, and no one pays attention to the fact that he was in John Wick 1. You know, Lucifer himself is giving us this amazing spoiler news.
Well, you also think about the guy that's playing Lucifer. This man is a prolific actor himself. He was in Bad Boys 1. He was also, if anybody ever watched Prison Break, he was one of the Russian mob guys. I absolutely love this dude. He is a quirky style character and actor.
Bad Boys 2.
Was Bad Boys 2? I thought it was Bad Boys 1. It was Bad Boys 2. That's right. He was the drug pusher. That's right. You're right. Correct. I'm sorry. My bad.
He's always playing a Russian. Keep this in mind. For a guy who's not Russian, always played a good Russian. Armageddon.
I love the dude. Oh, yeah, that's right. He was in Armageddon. That's right. He was the one. He was like, get off the laser. That's right.
Push the button, pull the lever.
Yep. I absolutely love that dude. I think he's great. I'm not surprised that Constantine has now gotten a push for a sequel in the last, give or take, year or so. Main reason being is 2-3 years ago, no one was talking about a sequel to Constantine. All of a sudden, Marvel starts talking up like, we want Keanu Reeves.
Yep.
DC knows Keanu wants to come back to Constantine. So what do? They bring him in. They have him on the back end of it, maybe a producer, director, whatever he wants to do, writing with the script, stuff like that. So I'm not surprised that they're working on part 2 for this. I do hope it happens. I absolutely love the first one, like Mayhem did too. Like he said, he watched it like 2 months ago. I think I watched it like maybe a year ago or so again, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I don't see him as part of the Justice League Dark if it does become on HBO Max. I don't think he'll have the time to do it because he's filming John Wick 4 and 5. He's doing The Matrix. He's got a lot on his plate. So if anything, this movie probably doesn't happen right away. Same thing with Justice League Dark. I think that they might cast Matt Ryan back, which I have no problems with it, but I think they might go a different direction because they want to tie it more into the movies and that type of stuff. So we shall see.
Well, they said, what is it? John Wick 5 was probably going to be the last one. So he is going to film John Wick 5. And there could be a nice little couple of year break until DC decides to figure out their new team that has to do with Justice League Dark. But I feel like Mayhem has something smart to tell us about Justice League Dark. Mayhem, please.
Don't put your hopes in this. We're still fawning over Snyder Cut. We're still fawning over Snyder. Like we're still
waiting on Snyder Cut. Yeah, I get it. Yes.
People are still waiting for Snyder Cut. And it's still being promoted as if it's the best thing since sliced bread. To hear this man say Martha as an explanation and have it all make sense. Thank you for coming to my TED Talks.
I would like to see in the Justice League Dark, though, if they do the series, they got to do. You have, Boston. You have the chimp. That's the magical chimp. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. You're gonna have Dr. Fate. You're gonna have Zatanna. You're gonna have him, and then you're gonna have Batman comes in every once in a while to help them out. I'd love to see who they cast as those characters. That's where I want to know, because that could definitely lead something really well.
Oh, well, we get to see and everything because why? Because everyone wants Keanu Reeves. Granted, we're not going to have the crazy Matrix versus John Wick 4 fight. 4? 5? Yep, 4, right? 4. We're going to get 4.
John Wick 4.
So granted, we're not going to see Matrix 4 versus John Wick 4 in the theaters or basically coming straight to DVD or a streaming site near you, we'll say. But I guess this is something to look forward to because we get another Keanu Reeves movie somewhere down the line. And if they play their cards just right, They film John Wick 5. They film John Wick 5, and then probably DC can start doing their next movie installment. Or if Keanu says what he said was going to happen was finish with John Wick 5 or John Wick 6. And don't forget, we also have Matrix, and we don't know when the next Matrix will probably be happening as well too, because we'll figure that part out when they get the Matrix 4, and if they're going to do another trilogy. What, 5 more Matrixes? What? No, go ahead,
I'd be
man.
okay with that.
Yeah, whatever. Leave Matrix alone. The chimp's name is Detective Chimp. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Back to you.
All right, well, let's get the cat out of the bag. Spoilers ahead of what we're going to talk about. Yes, we're going to talk about Mandalorian Chapter 11. So if you haven't watched this right now, spoilers ahead. Turn us off. You can come back, watch us tomorrow when you literally watch Mandalorian Chapter 11. So literally, this is what we're going to talk about for the next couple of minutes, and all because of this little controversy that also happened as well too, which actually confused the heck out of me. Also, because I forgot that this also happened in Rebels as well too, and this is all about the Mandalorian not wearing his helmet. Maybe you guys can talk to me about this. So, Koska Fees, what is it? Axe Wolves and Boca Katan have returned as a Mandalorian, and for some reason, when they joined Din, aka the Mandalorian, they took off their helmets, and it started freaking the Mandalorian out. And he said, "This is not the way." And he literally jumped on them and says, "Where'd you get the armor from?" And they to explain that they are also Mandalorian and they are able to take their helmets off. Now it became a nice little controversy of is the Mandalorian right? Who has the right of way? I know because of the fact that they have the blue armor and they are right of the Empire that they have the right of way, but who is right and who is wrong and where does it all lie? Sammy, since you're quick to shake your head and everything, why don't you explain to the lovely people the Mandalorian story when it comes to the helmets and everything else? Let's start with you.
She had to stretch a little there.
Right? No. Well, I am a huge Clone Wars fan, and all of the Mandalorian lore, I'm lagging a bit, sorry. All of the Mandalorian lore came out of Clone Wars. So when the blue armor is actually a symbol of royalty, because Bo-Katan was actually Sabine's sister. So when Sabine died in Clone Wars, I'm sorry, Satine, she was next in line, and she actually got the Darksaber in Rebels, at the end of Rebels. So that signified that she was actually the ruler of Mandalore. So how she lost it, that's a big question. Now, the issue of the helmets. So she says he's a part of the Watch. So the Watch is actually in reference to the Death Watch, which was an Orthodox militant Mandalorian splinter that wanted to go the old ways and not the pacifist ways that Satine's lineage had brought in the Empire, in the Republic. And they didn't believe in taking off their helmets casually. Now, they were led by Pre Vizsla, who at the end of the story arc in Clone Wars did actually take his helmet off. And it was kind of a big deal, but he did do it as a sign of respect and, whatever. So the fact that Din, or rather the Mandalorian, doesn't know that means that even from Death Watch, there was another splinter of Mandalorians that moved all the way out and abandoned Mandalore, which they do say in Clone Wars, but that happened well before anything in Clone Wars. So these Mandalorians that he has is from centuries old splinter cell, not anything new, which is why he doesn't understand the armor markings or anything like that, because they're doing ancient Mandalorian stuff from when it was constantly a planet at war, from and then before it joined the Republic. So it's basically lack of knowledge of these fans arguing about it, because they're both right. It's just which view of the code they want to adhere to.
Everyone, yeah.
There's your history lesson.
Yes.
So,
Mayhem.
yeah, no. shout out to Sammy. Thank you for that history. Thank you for making it all tie in, because one of the things I was also like pondering in my brain was like, why did they wear the helmets in the first place? And me going psychologically was like, for the acts that they do. So, they kind of like hide behind the helmet and hide behind the things that they've done and all this other stuff. But now that she's explained it, I mean, you can still kind of incorporate it, but what it comes down to is things that kind of go on to this day. Cultures, traditions, all these rules, they evolve, they change. Certain people follow certain things. And people forget that just because you don't follow the old ways doesn't necessarily make the new ways bad or obsolete. A lot of people are like, oh, remember that old love and all this other stuff. Ironically, some of that old love is now divorced due to COVID. And ironically, it's the truth. And then some of the new love is learning from the old love, but not necessarily following in the same footsteps. So that's what this is really about. Both codes are definitely correct, like Sammy said. It's just which one you want to adhere to. The other one is not worse or is lesser than the first. It doesn't matter. It's all about what you're comfortable with in that sense. What you mean dear to you. That's what I took from it.
So the helmets, just so you know, which I didn't touch on, the helmets are to show basically devotion to their respective, because before Mandalore got a queen or a king, they were actually just a bunch of clans at war. And it was very akin to old school feudal samurai, where they had a daimyo, and then that's how Mandalore was, what Mandalore culturally and real life was based off of. So it's actually like a show of devotion, rather than like anything psychological. And then it just, like anything else, it evolved with the times.
All right, Bergy.
They be doing some crazy stuff.
Bergy, your thoughts on the whole helmet debate and everything with the Mandalorian and during the show?
Well, Sammy said a lot of the stuff on it, and I was going to touch upon it too. So, thanks, Sammy. No. Like Sammy and me are big fans of Clone Wars and of this. We've talked about it in the past, like off air and stuff like that. The Mandalore. So the funny part is, Din Djarin is not an actual Mandalore. He's not from Mandalore. So he is basically a human race that was adopted in and found into it. So technically, he has no right to tell a person who is basically the queen of Mandalore what is the possibility in the right way. You are a foundling that was found from the Children of the Watch, which is zealots that kind of are what the Death Watch are based off of in a way. If you've read some of the stuff, you've looked up some of their info, the Death Watch is basically kind of like a faction of them that was militant, that wanted to get back to being a strong race, not a peaceful race per se. They wanted to put out their might and their strength to basically go against the Empire in a way from what it was, from what we saw, like Pre Vizsla, thank you. So, and that's what, and then when they brought in Darth Maul, and he technically became the leader of Mandalore, that's where we got the everything in the history. So it's funny that someone who is not technically from Mandalore is going to tell the queen of the planet the ways of the Mandalore, who was taught by a religious zealot that basically broke apart and has been off planet for God knows how many years, and are not true technical Mandalores, but you basically indoctrinate into like a cult in a way. I get it. Star Wars is a cult. We all love it. Any way you look at it. I don't care one way they take the helmet off, keep the helmet on, whatever. As long as it's entertaining, it brings me into Star Wars and gives me that Star Wars, back in my life.
That goo.
Yeah, the good, not the last three movies.
The goo. I said goo, as if like the child is giving us all this goo goo gaga warm feelings. Especially we're still as if we're still on chapter 11 anyway. Especially when you saw those people toss Baby Yoda in the middle of the thing, and I bet your head just went, "Oh my God, no, not Baby Yoda!" And then Mandalorian jumps right in for the baby, and you just went, "Bo appeared." What were your thoughts when that scene happened? Like, Bertie, let's start with you. Like, what were your thoughts when you saw that and you saw Bo-Katan just show up?
At first I thought it was going to be Sabine Wren. I really did think it was going to be Sabine Wren that was going to show up first. I didn't think it was going to be, her. I was thrilled, and there was three of them. So that all led me to believe, like, how many more are on this planet? You know, because they wanted to get everything that we see, and then he freaks out and leaves, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? No, bring them back.
Come back.
I was like, thank God they were in the whole episode. Like, I literally, like, I got up at 7 a.m. on Friday to watch that, so I didn't get spoilers on anybody, because I didn't want to go into work and somebody was going, do you watch the Mandalorian? Shut up, I'll kill you right now. Don't spoil it for me. So I freaked out. I geeked out. I'm so looking forward to it. And the fact that she name dropped who he needs to find in the next episode, that better happen, because you're going to hear a collective scream from Rhode Island, and it's going to be me, because I'm going to be so happy.
All right. Well, no, I'm gonna let everyone with a different question, because I know everyone's gonna repeat the same answer pretty much in a way. But we're gonna go through this one. Sammy, your thoughts, and when she names, you gotta find Ahsoka, and you have to go here. Your thoughts on that happening, especially for the next episode.
Bring it home, Sammy. Bring it home.
You know, it makes sense, because if you watch not the newest season of Clone Wars that came out, but the latest one, when Ahsoka kind of goes off on her own, not the 5th, but before that, she actually fights with Boca quite a lot. So they actually became friends. And I actually knew it was her as soon as I saw her helmet. So she landed, and I was live streaming this, you know, I was watching it with Ben, and I'm like, yes. And he had no idea, because he doesn't know. I totally did scream it. I'm like, yes. And then I love the fact that Katie is playing her when she voiced her in Clone Wars. And I'm super, super excited to see Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. I can't wait to see what they do. It was a great setup. The one thing I was really disappointed with this episode was that it had a runtime of 35 minutes. Now, kudos to Miss Howard, who directed the crap out of this. But when you look at it, it only had a runtime of 35 minutes. And I'm like, where's my other 20? I felt a bit chipped. I'm not going to lie. But as soon as she, you know, I knew they were going to have to do something with Mandalore as soon as I saw the dark saber at the end. So I'm just so happy now that Disney is finally just taking the Clone Wars stuff and bringing it finally into real life.
All right, Mayhem, your thoughts on how Bo almost loses her mind in the ship, trying to get a hold or trying to get information of her dark saber, and the storyline where this will go, where she's trying to get the saber back.
Let me tell you something about Disney right now when it comes to Mandalorian. They are keeping us so well invested, okay, in these characters and the development, that we're arguing about Baby Yoda eating eggs. Like he's not a
right, and as next episode happens, we don't even talk about the eggs even happening, because we see the episode. We'll end it. The episode ends with a hatching of the frog. We see a toad get born.
Right.
We end the episode with a toad getting born. But before we get to the ending of that part, we're talking about the storyline of the dark saber. Yes.
Listen, no, and the reason why I'm saying all this is because, remember, we're still waiting for one Mandalorian to make his announcement since the first episode, the ending of the first episode of season 2. You know, so we're waiting for that. So with Bo, I just, like, there's so many stories until, like, what did she go through? What does this darksaber really mean to her? You know, like, there's so much more. I thought it was a dope scene. It expands upon the Mandalorian universe, because I used to also read the Star Wars books and whatnot before they got rid of it. So I know to an extent some things, and they said, you know what? We're not going to take any of this stuff ever. And they're like, all right, we'll take a little bit of it. So now I'm like, what are you going to keep? What are you not going to keep? What are you going to expand on? Great scene. I can't wait to see them expand on it and see what is her malfunction. And I say that in the most positive way, because there has to be a reason why she's acting like that. Granted, she was in Clone Wars. I'm just saying.
All right, thoughts for everyone on the panel with the episode that we just saw. If they don't continue the Bo storyline, could you see the Star Wars new series that will extend the Mandalorian lore with the with Bo, with the remaining Mandalorians and the Darksaber, of what happened before and what's going to happen now? Because there's still that gap of, you know, there's still that giant. There's still a huge gap missing there. Sam, let's start with you with this one.
I think, honestly, I think that they could easily do a Mandalorian, like not The Mandalorian, but a Mandalorian series, because that was one of the most fleshed out worlds in the universe of Star Wars, where the Mandalorians date back to the Old Republic. Like they're older than Jedi. And all of that history is dictated in the games, Clone Wars, the comics, the Old Republic comics. So out of all of the worlds, the Mandalore has always had a rich history to pull from. So I think they could probably do a side series of it. Like her trying to recapture, her world and become queen again. But what I'm really interested in is seeing the Mandalorian go to Mandalore and see what happens, because it's all, I mean, at the time of the end of Rebels, the last season, they had a huge war that was brought together by Sabine's family and Boca. So, and that's where she got the black saber from Sabine. So my question
is being a death trap in a way. Like he says, like it's a giant death trap because nothing lives there. There's no life.
So what I would like to know, what I would like the series to show is what happened that from the end of Rebels, which for people who don't know, takes place right before episode 4, during the same time period as Rogue One. But so what happened from then to now, in the Mandalorian, which takes place between 6 and 7. So like that's what I want. If there was a show, that's what I would want to see, is that whole situation.
Bergy, you're highly invested as well too. Could you see another version of a Mandalorian series, like especially the one that's based on Bo's character?
Yes, most definitely. I'd love to see that, because I'd love to see that based with the Sabine Wren, and we could get more and dive more into the history. Maybe her getting the faction of the Mandalorian and the Death Watch and other ones, maybe even Children of the Watch, getting them all together and go back and try to liberate, or whatever it is their planet is under, because like he said, it's a death trap and nothing lives there, and she said don't believe it. So he's hearing stuff and he's not even going there. That could have been the Empire doing that to keep them under control and under that. So having Boca come back, I would love to watch that. I think there's so much story there, and like Sammy said, the amount of stuff that they've built on in that past history, all the way back to the Old Republic, to where we get like the first Jedi, from Mandalore, and that's how his saber was formed and what happened to it and how it's changed hands year of year. I would love to see that. There's so
their
much
version of Excalibur. It seems like the black saber is their version of Excalibur that has gone to hand to hand to hand, and he or she who holds the saber, it is king and queen of the Mandalores, or is the ruler of the Mandalores, we'll say. Mayhem, would you get invested in this if this was an ultra live action version instead of TheChild, and we get nothing but the Mandalore series? And
yes, here's why. We need a reboot. We need a crisis event. We need Secret Wars or whatever. We need Disney to reboot Star Wars, or at least reboot from the next episodes on. Because the way they left us, and I understand some things happened. Unfortunately, we couldn't necessarily get certain performances out of one particular character, one actress. Fine. But it's just like these stories and the way they're playing out have been kind of incoherent, and they're going the way of Kingdom Hearts. Does anybody know the story of Kingdom Hearts? Yes.
Somewhat,
Can anybody? Somewhat, right? Can you tell a full story? Because the fans can't either. So it doesn't make sense. So, like, with that being said, like,
does from 2 to 3, there's a huge time gap that they don't explain, something like that, right?
Don't even bother.
Yeah.
Games in the middle that retell it and add new things that never happened. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the Keyblade War. I don't know if it happened already, but I'm just like, when it happens, it happens. They'll let me know. So, with that being said, this could, with the success of The Mandalorian for more than 2 seasons on, and another spin-off series of another Mandalorian, this would help put the Star Wars movie verse in the right direction of what we want to see. What about the Gray Jedi? What about the Sith? Like, tell us, there's so much more about this universe that you could tell us than just politics and Jedi fights.
I want an Old Republic movie when there were hundreds of Jedi and hundreds of Sith before Darth Sidious changed it all.
Well, they were all under one roof, if I'm not mistaken, right? They were all under one roof.
So no,
like
so there were
Darth Bane.
Darth Bane. Okay.
Yeah. So there were hot, like in the Old Republic, like during the comics and stuff, there was hundreds of Jedi in what we would know as the Jedi, modern Jedi. And then there was hundreds of Sith. And then it wasn't until, was it Darth Bane or Darth Sidious killed them all except the two, and then
it started with Darth Bane. Darth Bane was the one that basically wiped out because there was a war between the Jedi and the Sith, and they had their wars, and they enlisted other people to join their wars. So basically, we see in the Clone Wars where it's like, oh, hey, here's Obi-Wan leading a troop of clones to fight, a bunch of the Republic and stuff. So they did that with the Sith and the Jedi, and then Darth Bane was part of the Sith, and then he grew to power, and his general knowledge and whatnot, just being a general, he wiped him out, and then that's where he formed one apprentice, one Sith. That's it, one Sith Lord.
Right.
So there we go. Sammy wants that version.
I love that.
I think at this rate, just give me a Chewie movie as long as it's not the Christmas special. I'm good with that one too. Give me a Chewie. No, you want the Ewok movie. Oh, you want the Ewok movie. Let's give everyone, the fans, what they want. An Ewok movie where there's no English anything whatsoever. Everyone's talking an Ewok language, or Chewie Star Wars sidetrack, and everyone's talking Chewbacca.
I don't want to say Bears on crack.
I don't think Chewie by himself is that interesting to host a movie by himself. Sorry.
No. Keep in Clone Wars though.
Listen. If they can learn anything from Marvel and they have Groot, Chewbacca's their version. As long as they put Chewbacca in something and he just yells, "I'm Chewbacca."
He did not hold the movie by himself. He did have his moments and he's shown, but it wasn't his Groot by himself. Team Groot was my jam. Team and Baby Groot was my jam.
I am Groot. No, what are you talking about? I am Groot. One more thing. You were talking about Howard directing and everything. Sammy seemed very happy and surprised of how well as her directing. Or is this her first directing debut? Right? Yeah, I believe so. Right?
She did a ton of the last season episodes.
Right, but this one is apparently one of her best, and if they do it just right, this will probably be nominated for an Emmy or some sort of probably Academy Award as well too, because fans have not stopped talking about Howard's directing, especially when it came to the action sequence of this film, especially giving it a female lead and a female strong presence. And guess what? You felt every inch of Bo when she looked at the Mandalorian, and she looked like she was about to kick his butt too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean. You had everyone's attention.
He's been on a little bit of a losing streak, kind of.
Right. He has. I mean, he may have a thing for he has a thing for the ladies. Let's not deny that. But spoilers ahead and everything. He's still carrying Boba Fett's armor, and we eventually have to see Boba Fett again. And we get the explanation. Yes, we get the explanation. He did survive. Yes, he is around. Yes, he has to go back. And yes, he has to see Boba Fett to return the armor. And we have to find a psychological version.
Either.
Right.
But
he's the son. He's the son of Jenga.
No,
but his father was cloned.
He's a clone.
The father.
No, Jango Fett is the original, and the Jango Fett was cloned. All the Star Wars.
Okay.
No, Jango Fett is the original person, basically. All of the clones are clones of Jango. Boba is a clone of Jango, but he was not aged. He was allowed to grow up normal.
He was the son. It was the son.
He said he was a son. That was his payment to the Genosians to clone his genetic code. He requested payment, a place to live, and then an unmodified clone he could raise as he desired. So with no modifications. So
yes, so technically he would be a son. So technically he is a son. By your definition,
son. He's a clone.
He's a clone.
He's a clone son, but instead of him being cloned.
Ash, I gotta fight you on this one. He's a clone. They still cloned him. It's not like he fertilized somebody else's egg.
He used he is.
We went round circle back to the egg.
Seeded the egg and everything. He is, in my opinion, he's a child. Okay, then fine. Explain X-23 then, because if they explain in Logan, Logan is explained as
convoluted nonsense into this nonsense.
Same thing. It is the same concept.
All I'm saying is,
I'm going with this. Okay, I'm going with this. The kid having a psychological issue that every time he looked at the stormtrooper saying "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," that's what I want the definition of. Because that is the actual true philosophy. You want to go full of philosophy?
He fights the clones all the time.
Yeah, I just
but father every time he killed his father pretty much every time.
What I was trying to say is that everybody I know was talking about how he didn't have his armor, and that armor is actually his father's armor. So
it's a modified version of his father's armor. Yeah.
What occurred that he had to lose his father's armor, and is it an evolution of his character? That he's outgrowing his dad, because when he had kept that armor, and then when he was a teenager, he repainted it and donned it and took Slave One and became a bounty hunter with a bunch of guys as a snotty teenager. So now is he evolved in the fact that he's his own man now? Obviously, I hope so, because tomorrow's
is he over his daddy issues?
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
Or was it a thing that he was pulled out of the pit and didn't even have his armor when he woke up?
That could be it too.
Yeah, because there's a guy in his head.
I agree with Sammy over there, because it's like, do you think he didn't know where his armor was, and why didn't he go get it? What stopped him for that? He definitely is a clone. X-23 is a clone. Okay, so what's going on? What's going on with the clone?
Look, as we saw X-23 have daddy issues, I'm waiting to see when Boba Fett's gonna have daddy issues as well too when it comes to the series, and has he resolved it?
It's easier to think of X-23 as not a clone because it's a girl. It's a teenage girl versus a man, right? That's what and you can say that women think differently from men. It's been proven by science, but it is still a clone. They just modify the genes, so it's a girl clone of Wolverine. That's all they did.
I'd like to know when he's going to show up more. I want to know when Boba's going to show up more. I gotta. Do you think he left the armor there and let that guy have it because he was trying to attract somebody to the planet and maybe capture somebody? Like he's looking for somebody himself, and that's why he let the armor go?
I think he let it go himself so that people think he's dead.
Yeah, I think he let the armor go. Remember that?
I think that's what it is, because he saw it. He saw it go by. Yeah, he could have he saw a Mandalorian go by with his armor. He could have gotten it if he wanted.
And he did nothing.
The town nearby, they had their own version of Marshall using the Mandalore armor.
Mm-hmm.
So
he would have heard that.
Right, and he may have given up the his armor just to be a normal man and be away from everything that was his past. So
it's also possible that he could have had a bounty on his head. Like he could have gotten out of the pit, because now we're talking about decades. He could have gotten out of the pit and ran around as Boba and been fine for a decade. And he could have had a bounty on his head from the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have just killed his armor, because if you look at the armor, which I don't particularly remember, he's got a shot in the head. And
he had the shot in the head beforehand.
Han shot him in the head?
No, he's already shot. Yeah, he's shot in the head in the last Jedi. Okay. He's shot in the head during that.
That doesn't connect. That's like in the same scene, and I always see that.
when they sold the helmets, that bullet mark was always there as well too. When they sold the helmet, so that mark was always there.
I think honestly, he let it go so that people thought he was dead.
My curiosity, if the actor shows up again, is he going to show up again as Captain Rex? Is he going to show up as some of the others? Because now he could now technically you could use him for others because he's the clone of them. So you got Commander Cody, Rex. You've got Frye.
But did they survive? But did they survive?
No,
they have.
No. So Rex, Wolf, and McGregor are the only 3 clones that survive. Because they took the chip out of their brain after Fives let them know what happened, and then Fives died. So there's only 3 clones. Aside from Boba, there's potentially 4 clones. The problem with the idea of the 3 clones is that when they reached a certain point, the Emperor had their internal clock accelerated so they would die quickly. That's why there are no old clones, because when Order 66 happened, they killed all the Jedi, and then like a year later, they all aged like 80 years in a year, and they all dropped dead of old age. So he didn't have all these soldiers around. So the reason that the 3 didn't get it and they aged slower was because they took the chip out. But they ended up aging slower. So in Rebels, Rex, but Rex would be like the equivalent of like a 65-year-old man. They were all really old dudes. So did their aging stop or did they die? Like, those are kind of the questions that have never really been answered about the clones. And the fact that you saw Rex in Rebels and it was explained, like,
loved it.
It was amazing.
It seems like we're all invested. We all can't wait for episode 4, chapter 12 to be happening next Friday, as we all like to see. And we also can't wait to see what kind of side stories do we create out of this. And right now, Sammy's invested in the last remaining clones. So that may be a little spoiler down the line as well, too. And hopefully we get to see all that. Some of you guys also want to see an extended version or extended universe of the Mandalores into their storyline. But anyway, apparently something amazing happened also this week as well, too. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this guy right here had his birthday not too long ago, right? Yeah, nice, exciting news.
Oh my God!
2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday
to you.
I'm
done.
Birthday, dear Michael Mayhem Alexandre. Happy birthday to you.
I said we should do the Scottish one, where
we're not gonna. If you want in sync versions of it, no. Please don't play it.
Thank my mom who had me. She kept her eggs away from Baby Yodas. My dad who doesn't believe Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Never. Oh, my family wouldn't thank Hash for having me. Bergy for telling me that not investing in Blockbuster was the right thing to do.
Yo, they have stock, bro. You can buy it at $3, man. Stock.
It's not about you. It's not about you. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. Sammy for being Sammy. Shout out to Leslie.
I wish you were here.
They love me.
You love me. You really love me. I wish I had that mask. Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much.
Yes. Sad enough, we almost come to an end and everything. Our social medias, all of us are running right behind, are running on the bottom of the screen. Please follow us, like us, and share whatever you like during the show. If you have any more comments, please comment away and message us at any single time and what you're looking forward to, especially for this and coming. That's Bergy. That's Mayhem. That's Sammy. You can catch us here next week or on our previous other shows as well too, guys. Thank you all for watching and have a great Sunday, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Enjoy your eggs.